9 types of people you should never help. Understanding these personalities can save you more than just time. It can save your peace of mind. So let's first start with the story. Once upon a time, in a bustling little city, there was a cafe owner named Ava, who lived by the rule that a little kindness could change lives. Everyone in the neighborhood knew Ava for her warm smile and the open door of her cozy cafe. One stormy afternoon, a man named Charlie came through that door, looking like trouble had followed him every step of the way. Despite the warnings in her head, Ava's heart went out to him. Charlie shared his story of hard times and misfortunes, pulling at Ava's heartstrings. Moved by his plight, Ava offered him a job and a place to regroup, thinking, here's someone I can help. Here's someone who just needs a break. Over the next few weeks, Charlie worked at the cafe, and Ava took care of him, feeding his spirit and hoping to see him turn his life around. But as the days passed, Ava started noticing things weren't adding up. Money missing from the till, expensive goods disappearing. The signs were there, and even though it was hard to believe, Ava realized that Charlie's intentions might never have been genuine. When she finally confronted him, Charlie had nothing but excuses, leaving Ava not only betrayed, but also deeply hurt. Standing in the doorway of her cafe as Charlie walked away, Ava felt the sting of deception. It was a harsh reminder that sometimes, no matter how much you care, some people don't change. And sometimes, the kindness you offer is the very thing they'll take advantage of. Meet Emma, a kind-hearted librarian in a quaint suburban town. Emma has a friend, Lucy, who seems to always be caught in a storm of misfortune. Whether it's trouble at work, another broken relationship, or a new financial crisis, Lucy's life is a series of dramatic episodes. And every time, without fail, Emma is there, ready to pick up the pieces. Emma's compassion runs deep. She believes in supporting her friends through thick and thin. So whenever Lucy calls, distressed and tearful, Emma is there. She listens, offers advice, and even helps financially when the chips are down. But as the years roll by, a pattern begins to emerge. Lucy's crises seem never-ending, and her dependency on Emma only grows. One chilly autumn evening, as Emma sits tallying up the countless hours and resources she's poured into helping Lucy, it strikes her. Lucy hasn't really tried to change her situation. Emma's assistance, though well-intentioned, has inadvertently kept Lucy from taking responsibility for her own life. Feeling a mix of frustration and enlightenment, Emma realizes that true help sometimes means stepping back. It's a tough pill to swallow, but she understands that for Lucy to grow, she must face her challenges without Emma always rushing in to save the day. Standing at the crossroads of their friendship, Emma decides it's time for some tough love. It's not about cutting ties, but about redefining help in a way that encourages Lucy to stand on her own 2 feet. Emma knows now that perpetual victims like Lucy can trap even the most caring souls in a cycle of endless aid and no progress. Helping someone is noble, but it's vital to recognize when your help is truly empowering them or just enabling their dependency. The self-destructive. This tale explores why sometimes the best help is the hardest to give. In a bustling urban neighborhood, there lives a man named Tom. Tom is a talented artist known for his vibrant murals that brighten the city streets. However, Tom struggles with a significant issue. He has a penchant for gambling. His addiction has cost him more than just his savings. It started to erode his relationships and his career. Tom's brother Mike has always been his safety net. Each time Tom falls into debt or faces eviction, Mike is there, wallet in hand, ready to bail him out. He believes in Tom's talent and hopes that with just enough support, Tom might turn things around. But years pass, and the pattern repeats itself, each bailout just leading to the next crisis. One evening, Mike visits one of Tom's murals, a stunning piece that should have heralded a fresh start for Tom. Instead, Mike finds his brother in despair, gambling winnings gone and rent overdue. It's a moment of clarity for Mike. He sees that by always cushioning the fall, he's prevented Tom from facing the full consequences of his actions. With a heavy heart, Mike decides it's time for tough love. He tells Tom he won't be bailing him out this time. Instead, he offers to help in a different way, by supporting Tom in seeking help for his addiction. It's a difficult conversation, filled with tension and tears, but also a glimmer of hope. Tom is initially angry, feeling abandoned when he needs help the most. But as the reality of his situation sinks in, he begins to see that this might be the push he needs to truly change. Slowly, he takes steps toward recovery, attending meetings and working on smaller, personal projects to rebuild his life and art career. That's the story of Tom, and the tough decision Mike had to make. It's a poignant reminder that sometimes the best way to help someone isn't to save them from their troubles, but to empower them to face and overcome their challenges. Dealing with the ungrateful. This next story illustrates why gratitude is not just a courtesy, but a crucial part of the helping relationship. Meet Sarah, a dedicated social worker in a bustling urban community. Sarah's passion is helping those in need, especially individuals struggling to find stable housing and employment. One day, she meets Dan, a man recently laid off and on the brink of homelessness. Moved by his plight, Sarah goes above and beyond, pulling strings to secure him a job interview and arranging temporary housing. Initially, Dan seems appreciative. He thanks Sarah, and for a while, everything seems to be looking up. However, as Sarah continues to assist, she notices a shift in Dan's attitude. He begins to expect more and more, yet his gratitude diminishes. When Sarah arranges a critical job interview for him, not only does Dan show up late, he complains that the job isn't good enough for him. Sarah is taken aback. She had invested her time, energy, and resources into helping Dan, expecting nothing in return, but hoping for a simple acknowledgement of her efforts. Instead, she faces demands and criticism. This experience leaves her feeling undervalued and questioning the impact of her work. Reflecting on this, Sarah realizes that while it's important to help, it's also vital to recognize when her efforts aren't being appreciated. She learns that her time and energy are better spent on those who value and respect her help. With this lesson in mind, she decides to set clearer boundaries in her future charitable endeavors. And there we have the story of Sarah and her encounter with the ungrateful. It's a reminder that while giving is noble, it requires mutual respect to be truly effective. The manipulator. This story will reveal how helping someone can sometimes entangle you in their schemes if you're not careful. Imagine a vibrant community center where volunteers come together to make a difference. Among these volunteers is Janet, a devoted and enthusiastic member known for her dedication and generosity. Janet meets Martin, a charismatic new volunteer who quickly ingratiates himself with everyone. He seems perfect, helpful, charming, and eager to take on responsibilities. Janet, impressed by Martin's enthusiasm, supports his ideas for new projects and even advocates for him to lead several initiatives. However, as time passes, Janet begins to notice discrepancies in Martin's stories and inconsistencies in his financial reports for the projects. Her suspicions grow when other volunteers start expressing concerns about missing funds and unmet project goals. Confronting Martin, Janet hopes for clarity, but his responses are slippery, full of excuses and deflections. It becomes evident that Martin has been manipulating the trust and goodwill of everyone around him to benefit himself, not the community. Janet realizes she's been used as a pawn in his game to gain influence and divert resources. This revelation is a hard hit for Janet. She learns that manipulators like Martin are adept at wearing masks of charm and sincerity to exploit the kindness of others. From this experience, Janet becomes more cautious, understanding that to truly help, she must also protect the integrity of her efforts and the well-being of the community. That brings us to the end of Janet and Martin's story, a cautionary tale about the dangers of manipulative individuals in the guise of helpers, the eternal pessimist. This story shows how relentless negativity can drain even the most well-intentioned efforts. In a cozy neighborhood bookstore, there's a thoughtful and cheerful owner named Grace. Grace is known for her sunny disposition and her ability to see the silver lining in every cloud. One of her regular customers is a man named Derek, who seems to carry a rain cloud over his head at all times. Derek is intelligent and well-read, but he's also a profound pessimist. Every conversation with Derek is about how things are bound to go wrong. Initially, Grace tries to uplift him, sharing positive stories, recommending books with uplifting themes, and even organizing community events that Derek might enjoy. She believes that with the right push, she can help Derek see the brighter side of life. However, months go by, and despite Grace's best efforts, Derek's outlook remains gloomily unchanged. Every attempt to inject positivity is met with skepticism or outright dismissal. This constant negativity begins to take a toll on Grace's own energy. She finds herself dreading Derek's visits, as they often leave her feeling drained and discouraged. Finally, Grace comes to a realization. Her efforts, though well-meant, are not only unappreciated, but are also futile in changing Derek's entrenched worldview. She learns that while it's important to offer support, it's also essential to protect her own emotional well-being. Grace decides to set boundaries in her interactions with Derek, engaging with him politely but no longer attempting to alter his outlook. And there you have it, the tale of Grace and Derek. It's a reminder that while optimism is a gift, not everyone is ready to receive it. The jealous competitor. This story illustrates how helping someone who views everything as a competition can backfire. Meet Alan, a seasoned graphic designer with a thriving freelance business and a reputation for quality work. In his local designers community, he's known not just for his skills, but also for his willingness to mentor up-and-coming talents. One of these rising stars is Beth, a talented but overly competitive designer who approaches Alan for guidance. Seeing potential in Beth, Alan generously shares his client contacts, introduces her to key industry players, and gives her tips on improving her portfolio. Initially, Beth seems grateful, and their professional relationship flourishes. However, as Beth's network and reputation grow, so does her ambition, morphing into a sharp rivalry. Alan starts noticing that Beth is not just using his advice, but is actively trying to outdo him. She undercuts his bids, pitches directly against him, using insights she gained from their sessions, and even attempts to poach some of his long-term clients. The realization hits Alan hard. He's inadvertently created his own competition, one that doesn't play by the rules of gratitude or fairness. Faced with this betrayal, Alan reassesses how he mentors. He remains committed to helping others, but becomes more selective about sharing his resources. He learns the hard lesson that while it's rewarding to help others grow, it's also crucial to ensure that this help isn't used against him. That's the story of Alan and Beth, a lesson in the complexities of mentorship and competition. Helping the constantly unprepared. This story underscores why sometimes the best aid we can offer is teaching others to stand on their own. In a bustling corporate office works Lisa, a diligent and highly organized project manager, known for her punctuality and detailed planning. She has a colleague, Rob, who despite his charming personality is often unprepared for meetings, misses deadlines, and generally seems to skate by on the minimum effort. Rob, recognizing Lisa's competence, frequently turns to her for help at the last minute. Whether it's finishing a presentation or covering for him in meetings, Lisa, ever helpful, always steps in to save the day. She believes in teamwork and feels that helping Rob is part of maintaining a harmonious office environment. However, over time, Lisa starts to notice that her willingness to help hasn't encouraged Rob to improve. Instead, it's made him even more reliant on her. Each project becomes a cycle of Lisa picking up the slack for Rob's lack of preparation. This repeated pattern begins to affect her own workload and stress levels. One day, facing yet another of Rob's crises, Lisa makes a decision. Instead of swooping in to fix things, she sits down with Rob and explains the importance of preparation and personal responsibility. She offers to help him develop better organizational skills, but makes it clear that she won't cover for his unpreparedness anymore. This conversation marks a turning point for Rob. Initially uncomfortable and challenged, he begins to take small steps towards self-improvement. For Lisa, this experience reinforces the idea that true help doesn't mean doing the work for someone, but empowering them to manage their responsibilities. And that wraps up our look at Lisa and Rob. It's a powerful reminder that while it's easy to jump in and fix things, real assistance sometimes means letting others learn from their challenges. The saboteur. This story reveals the complexities of dealing with individuals who might intentionally undermine your efforts. In a small community garden dedicated to bringing neighbors together and promoting sustainability, works a passionate gardener named Emily. Emily is not just enthusiastic about gardening. She's committed to creating a space where everyone can learn and grow together. However, there's one participant, Nick, whose actions don't quite align with the community's goals. At first, Nick appears to be a diligent and active member. Emily, eager to foster involvement, entrusts him with key responsibilities, including the care of the newly planted vegetable plots. But strange things begin to happen. Plants are inexplicably damaged, tools go missing, and the watering schedule is often disrupted. Emily wants to believe in the best of people and initially attributes these mishaps to accidents or misunderstandings. However, as incidents increase, she starts noticing that they mostly occur when Nick is around. She decides to investigate discreetly and discovers that Nick has been sabotaging the garden due to a personal vendetta against another community leader. Confronted with this betrayal, Emily realizes the importance of vigilance and accountability in community projects. She confronts Nick, leading to his departure from the group. From this experience, Emily learns that while it's crucial to be inclusive and trusting, it's equally important to recognize and address sabotage swiftly to protect the collective interest and harmony of the group. That concludes our story of Emily and her encounter with the saboteur. It's a sobering reminder that while our intentions may be pure, not everyone's are. As we conclude this series on the types of people you should be wary of helping, remember that discernment is key. Knowing who genuinely appreciates your efforts and who might take advantage or even work against you can safeguard your energy and ensure your help is truly constructive.